The council chamber fell into a tense silence as Commander Zaka stepped forward. Light from the crystal dome glinted off his emerald green scales, and though he had fought in 3 wars and witnessed the rise and fall of a dozen civilizations, there was fear in his piercing yellow eyes today. "We have a problem," he said, his voice grave, directed at the 47 species gathered before him. "The humans are moving again." That single word, humans, sent a ripple of anxiety through the chamber. 50 years of peace hadn't erased the discomfort that name carried. At the far end, Dr. Luna Vex hovered gracefully in her energy field, her translucent form pulsing with unease. "What kind of movement?" asked Admiral Crix, his mandibles clicking. The insectoid officer had spent decades patrolling the edges of known space for the Manturi fleet. If something was brewing, he needed to know where the storm was coming from. Zaka raised a claw and activated the central holographic display. A vast three-dimensional map of the galaxy shimmered into view. Most of it glowed a calm blue, territory of the Galactic Confederation. But near the outer edges, a large portion pulsated an ominous red. Human space. "Our sensors picked up major energy surges along their borders, 3 days ago," Zaka explained. "We've never recorded signatures like these before. Whatever they're building in there, it's huge." A chorus of voices broke out, buzzing, hissing, clicking, crackling. Alien tongues uniting in shared alarm. Even species that usually couldn't agree on gravity were suddenly united in one undeniable fact: humanity still scared them. "Order," barked the council speaker, a tall, regal figure cloaked in silver fur. His tone quieted the room. "Dr. Vex. You've studied human transmissions for over 2 decades. What's your take?" Vex floated closer, eyes shimmering with concern. Her voice, melodic and ethereal, carried easily across the chamber. "I've been monitoring their broadcasts, their entertainment, news, internal communications. And what I've found should concern us all." She gestured, and the map zoomed in on the red zone. "They call themselves humanity, but they're not the same species that left Earth 200 years ago. They've changed, evolved, in ways we don't understand." "Explain," demanded Admiral Crix. "In the last 50 years, they've cut off nearly all external contact. No trade, no cultural exchanges, no diplomacy. Yet their technology has exploded in sophistication. They speak casually of concepts we consider impossible, like their simple engineering puzzles." Vex adjusted the display, and waves of strange energy cascaded through the map of human territory. "It's not just their machines," she continued. "It's them. I've intercepted training videos, medical reports, psychological assessments. What they now consider a normal human would have been their most elite warrior half a century ago." "That's not possible," said the council speaker, frowning. "Evolution takes time." "Natural evolution, yes," Dr. Vex replied softly. "But humans don't believe in natural limits." Another uneasy hush settled over the room. Everyone knew the old stories. How humans arrived in the galaxy with primitive ships and outdated weapons. How they fought relentlessly, not out of malice, but because surrender simply wasn't in their vocabulary. How every defeat became a lesson, and every victory became momentum. "We offered them a place in the Confederation," said one elder counselor. "They declined. Said they needed time." "That was 50 years ago," Admiral Crix said. "And now?" Zaka adjusted the timeline overlay on the display. For the first 20 years, their development looked normal: cities expanding, interplanetary traffic, typical growth. But then, about 30 years ago, everything shifted. Patterns became coordinated. Purposeful. Like their entire civilization aligned behind a singular goal. "What goal?" someone asked. Zaka shook his head. "We don't know. But based on the energy signatures from 3 days ago, whatever it is, they're nearly done. Whatever they're powering could energize an entire star system. Vex's glow dimmed with concern as she added, and there's more. In their fictional stories, they often depict monsters, not as evil, but as misunderstood. Creatures to understand, help, or confront only if necessary. The council speaker furrowed his brow. What are you saying? I think, humans now see themselves as the monsters. And they're deciding what to do about it. Crix's claws clicked as he stood. We need answers. I volunteer my stealth fleet for reconnaissance, no contact, just observation. Absolutely not, several voices protested immediately. The Treaty of Cosmic Peace forbids entering human territory, the speaker reminded him. And it also mandates protection of Confederation species from external threats, Crix shot back. If humanity is becoming a threat, we need to know now, not after they act. I agree, said Dr. Vex. But we must proceed with extreme caution. There's an old human phrase, curiosity killed the cat. We may be the cat. Debate erupted. Some argued for diplomacy, others for reinforcement, a few for preemptive peace. After hours of heated discussion, the vote was cast. It passed, barely. You'll take your best ships, the speaker instructed. No contact. Stay beyond their sensors. Observe only. And if anything suggests imminent danger, you retreat. Admiral Crix gave a respectful bow. Understood. We launch at first light. As the chamber emptied, Dr. Vex approached him. Be careful, my friend. I've studied humans for decades. The more I learn, the less I'm sure we ever truly understood them. What do you think we'll find? Crix asked. Her glow flickered like a faltering star. I think we'll finally learn why no one dares to cross into human space. And maybe, just maybe, that's what's kept us all safe. That night, as Crix prepared his stealth fleet for the mission, her words echoed in his mind. 50 years ago, humans were seen as brash upstarts, primitive and unpredictable. But now? Now they were the unknown. The anomaly. The one factor that made the galaxy's oldest civilization stare out at the stars with unease. And tomorrow, Crix was going to learn why. Just before dawn, 12 sleek Manturi ships slipped into the void. Designed for silence and shadows, they cut through space like whispers, heading straight for the red zone. Behind them, the lights of the Confederation shrank into the distance. Ahead, the darkness of human territory loomed. Quiet. Ominous. And somewhere in that dark expanse, something vast had begun to stir. Captain Jake Morrison was halfway through his first cup of morning coffee when the alarm started blaring. Hot liquid splashed across his desk, but he barely noticed. He was already on his feet, rushing onto the command bridge of the deep space station Cerberus. In the 3 years he'd commanded this station, those alarms had never gone off. Report, he barked. Lieutenant Amy Chen spun around from her station, pale and wide-eyed. Sir, we've got multiple vessels approaching. Manturi stealth class. They're coming from Confederation space. Morrison's heart sank. The Manturi were the best scouts in the galaxy. If they were here, it meant the Confederation had finally decided to stop wondering and start watching. How many? 12, sir. Trying to stay hidden, but our new sensor array tagged them 2 light years out. He nodded, jaw tight. That sensor upgrade had been one of many silent improvements over the last decade. None of the aliens had any clue how far human tech had come. Time to intercept. At their current velocity, they'll reach the outer perimeter in 6 hours. Morrison turned slowly, taking in the faces of his crew. Every officer aboard Cerberus had been handpicked, not just for skill but for what they represented. They weren't just guardians. They were a signal. He took a breath. Activate Protocol 7. The entire bridge went still. Everyone knew what that meant. Dar. Paul Martinez looked up from his console. His field was psychology, but his presence on the bridge meant one thing: this wasn't just a technological matter. This was about perception. Psychology. How the enemy thought, and how they'd react to what they were about to witness. "Sir," he said slowly. "You're sure? Once we activate Protocol 7, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle." Morrison didn't hesitate. "The decision was made 50 years ago. We're just here to carry it out." Lieutenant Chen's fingers danced across her controls. "Protocol 7 active. All human installations are responding. The network's coming online." Morrison felt the shift, an invisible hum beneath the deck as systems woke up across dozens of human worlds. "Open a channel," he ordered. "Use their language." "Channel open." He stepped forward and spoke calmly, voice projecting across space. "Manturi vessels, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Human Space Force. You are entering restricted space. Turn back immediately." The response came fast. A familiar clicking buzz filled the bridge. "Human vessel, this is Admiral Crix of the Confederation Fleet. We come in peace. Our purpose is observation only." Morrison almost laughed. Observation. The Confederation thought they were being clever. They didn't know humans had been intercepting their transmissions for years. They knew about the council meeting. Knew about Dr. Vex's warnings. Knew exactly why the Manturi were here. "Admiral Crix," Morrison replied coolly. "You are not authorized in this region. Withdraw now or face consequences." Chief Petty Officer Lisa Kane stepped forward. Morrison had brought her onto Cerberus for a very specific reason: her past. She had worked on systems the rest of the galaxy didn't even believe existed. "Sir," she said quietly. "Shall I prep the demonstration?" He nodded. "Do it." Kane turned back to her console. Across the bridge, screens came alive, lighting up with data feeds and positional overlays. A map formed, an entire sector of space highlighted. Every outpost, every ship, every installation within 100 light-years of Cerberus came online. The aliens were about to see what human space really looked like. On the Manturi flagship, Admiral Crix leaned forward, staring at his sensor feed. It had gone from quiet to overwhelming in seconds. The moment Morrison had said the phrase, "Protocol 7, the data had spiked across the board. "Science officer." Crix snapped. "What are we looking at?" His officer looked shaken. "Admiral, we're detecting power signatures we can't identify. Massive output levels. It's not just defense systems. It's something more." "Weapons?" I'm not sure. These energy readings don't match anything in our archives." Back on Cerberus, Dr. Martinez was analyzing the Manturi reaction. His eyes scanned simulations and behavior models. "They're confused," he said. "Their stealth systems failed. Their sensors are flooded. They're surrounded by systems they can't categorize. Based on their psychological profile, they'll hesitate. Try to gather intel. Likely wait an hour before making any move." Morrison nodded. "Good. That gives us time." "Sir," Chen said, "their flagship is transmitting reports back to the Confederation." "Let them," Morrison replied. "In fact, make sure their signal is strong." The crew exchanged uncertain glances but followed orders. If the aliens wanted to tell their leaders what they were seeing, that was fine. It was all part of the plan. On Crix's ship, the situation was becoming surreal. "Admiral," said his science officer, "they're outposts, they're networked. Every one of them. Not isolated installations, an integrated system. When one activates, they all react." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying this isn't a group of defenses. Human space is the defense. It's a single, coordinated system that spans light years. Crix's confidence wavered. He'd expected outdated technology and backward tactics. Instead, his ship, one of the Confederation's most advanced, now felt like a toy. "Admiral," his comms officer interrupted. "Another message from the human station." Morrison's voice returned, calm, almost gentle. "Admiral Crix. You have 5 minutes to withdraw. After that, we will assume your presence is an act of aggression." Crix hesitated. Before he could respond, the science officer cut in again. "Sir. Massive power spikes. Whatever they've activated, it's growing. If our readings are right, it can distort gravitational fields. Possibly even manipulate spacetime." Crix felt a chill crawl across his exoskeleton. The humans weren't bluffing. Then the human station went dark. Every energy reading vanished from Crix's sensors. One moment, a galaxy of activity, the next, silence. But the space around them began to shift. The stars twisted. Not just moved, twisted, spiraled in ways that defied physics. The laws of nature bent, warped. "Science officer!" Crix yelled, panicking. "What is this?" The answer came with dread. "I don't know, Admiral. It's like they've taken control of reality itself." And then a new voice filled his ship's speakers. "This is Colonel Ben Harris of the Soul Defense Grid," it said, smooth and confident. "Remain calm. You are not in immediate danger. But you are no longer in control of your environment. We are." Crix found his voice. "What have you done?" "This is impossible." "Impossible is a word we stopped using 50 years ago," Harris replied. "You came to observe human space. Now, you're part of it. Welcome to the Darwin Project." On the command ship Harbinger, Colonel Harris turned to his crew. "Dar. Williams. Are they ready?" Dr. Kate Williams, lead architect of the Darwin Project, checked her systems. She had spent decades perfecting the next stage of human evolution. "All systems green. They're fully contained. Let's begin. Activate Phase 1. Across human space, ancient installations stirred. Not weapons. Not shields. Tools, capable of rewriting the fundamental rules of existence. Back on Crix's ship, human vessels began to appear, surrounding them. But these were no ordinary ships. They morphed as they moved, changing shape, function, and form in real time. "Admiral," shouted the comms officer. "They're transmitting data. Everything, technology, history, philosophy. They want us to understand." Crix hesitated. His instincts screamed trap, but he authorized the download. And as the information flooded in, he began to realize, humanity hadn't just advanced. They had become something new.
Dr. Kate Williams' voice filled the Manturi flagship's command deck, calm and steady as she addressed Admiral Crix directly. "What you're seeing," she said, "is the result of 50 years of focused evolution. When humanity first encountered the Confederation, we realized something critical: we weren't ready." "Not ready?" Crix asked, his voice hollow with disbelief. "Your civilizations had plateaued," Dr. Williams continued. "You achieved peace by embracing your limits. But we, humans, we don't believe in limits. Not then, not now." On the Harbinger, Commander Alex Turner approached his console. A product of the Darwin Project, he embodied the new human, faster than any biological creature, smarter than most artificial systems, but still unmistakably human. "Show them the cities," Turner suggested. Dr. Williams nodded. New holograms came online, images of human settlements scattered across their territory. But these weren't traditional cities. They were living, breathing organisms of architecture, structures that adapted in real time to their inhabitants' needs, environments that evolved with their people. This, this can't be real, Crix whispered. You keep saying that word, said another voice, General Rick Stone, Supreme Commander of the Human Defense Network. His image replaced the city view, and Crix felt a chill run through him. Stone looked human, but something in his gaze radiated unimaginable strength. What do you want from us? Crix asked, voice tight. Nothing, Stone replied. We don't want your territory. We don't want to rule your people. We only want to be left alone, to continue becoming who we're meant to be. Then why reveal all this? Dr. Williams answered. Because myths about us have spread for decades. Because you feared us without understanding. And because isolation only works if it's respected. Commander Turner stepped forward again. Every child born in human space today has abilities your elite warriors can't match. Every scientist can outpace your most advanced computers. Every worker is stronger, smarter, more adaptable. But you're still human? Crix asked, unsure. More than ever, General Stone said. We've removed limits, not humanity. The data stream continued. It wasn't just about power. It was about transformation. Philosophy, science, biology, humans had evolved in every domain. The Darwin Project hadn't been about dominance. It was about survival. We became what we needed to become, Dr. Williams said. And what was that? Crix asked. General Stone looked directly into the camera. We became the firewall. The immune system of galactic civilization. Crix didn't understand. You mean defense forces? No, Dr. Williams replied. We mean something bigger. She activated new displays. Dark shapes appeared. Monolithic structures drifting beyond the edge of known space. The stars behind them flickered and vanished. These, said Dr. Williams, are the Devourers. Images flashed, star systems gone. No explosions. No remnants. Just silence. We've been tracking them for 37 years, said Dr. Sam Roberts, appearing on screen. He looked ordinary, gray hair, simple clothes, but spoke with the weight of someone who had spent decades thinking about the end of everything. At first, we thought the signals were anomalies. Then we saw the patterns. Captain Nina Foster joined him. They're machines. Or they were. We call them Devourers because that's what they do. They consume everything. And they're coming? Crix asked. They've been coming for a long time, Roberts said. But now, they're accelerating. Crix staggered back. What can stop them? Sergeant Mike Davis appeared next. He looked like a regular human soldier. Until he picked up a metal beam that weighed several tons and bent it with his bare hands. This is who we are now, said Roberts. Not monsters. Not tyrants. Just a species willing to do anything to survive, and to protect others. Admiral, said Dr. Carol Jensen, stepping forward with hands glowing in a soft blue light. We've enhanced everything, our minds, bodies, lifespans. Not to conquer. To endure. To fight what others can't.
You still love? Crix asked, looking at the images of families, children, art. Yes, Jensen said. We still dream. We still care. But we've removed the ceiling from our potential. New images filled Crix's screen, schools where children learned physics in minutes, parks that adjusted gravity for play, artists crafting reality-bending installations. This is beautiful, Crix admitted. And functional, Foster replied. Everyone in that city could become a soldier in seconds. Every child knows more than your best engineers. And you still believe in getting better? Crix asked. That, Dr. Jensen said with a smile, is the human condition. Always improving. Always hoping. Even now. Even facing the Devourers. Especially now, said Dr. Roberts. Your people avoid the unsolvable. We run straight into it. The feed shifted again, labs, test chambers, experiments that defied understanding. For 37 years, we've prepared. We became the species that could face the impossible. What if you're wrong? Crix asked. What if they're too powerful? Sergeant Davis met his eyes. Then we'll become more. You don't fear them? Crix asked. We do, Roberts admitted. But we never let fear stop us. You're dangerous, Crix said softly. To the things that threaten life, said Captain Foster. Not to life itself. And how can we be sure? Because in 50 years, said Dr. Roberts, we've never attacked a single species. Never expanded. Never demanded anything. We've been preparing to die, Foster added, for people who don't even know we're protecting them. Crix sat in stunned silence. Then another voice broke through. Admiral Crix, came the transmission. This is President Dan Clark of the Human Coalition. We need to talk. His image came into focus, an unassuming man, but his eyes held the weight of galaxies. My government didn't authorize the fleets approaching your border, Crix began. We know, Clark said. The Saran are testing our defenses. The Ethereals want to study us. The Crystalli are afraid. They're all making the same mistake you made. Thinking this is about them. A new figure appeared beside him, Admiral Sarah Brooks. Admiral, she said calmly. While your fleets have been moving, something else has happened. Sensor readings filled the screen. The Devourers have changed course. They've detected the energy signatures of your fleets. They're accelerating. How fast? They'll be here in 6 hours, said Dr. Tony Mitchell, joining the broadcast. Clark leaned forward. So, Admiral. The invasion you were planning? It's irrelevant now. Because we're all about to fight for our lives. Crix blinked. What do you want from us? Integration, said Commander Lisa Park. We're about to upload every human technology, tactic, and enhancement to your fleets. It won't make you us, but it'll give you a fighting chance. You want to change us? Temporarily, Clark said. With permission. But look at your screens. Decide if you want to face this with what you have now. The Devourers were enormous, planet-sized ships with void behind them. How many? Crix whispered. 17,000 capital ships in the first wave, Brooks answered. 4 million smaller ones. And one. Voidbringer. How many ships do you have? 312, she said. Crix's breath caught. You can't be serious. We are, Clark replied. We stopped thinking in old terms decades ago. Displays showed weapons Crix didn't understand. Ships that reconfigured mid-flight. Thought itself made into architecture. What do you need us to do? Crix asked. Help us save the galaxy, Park said. Show the universe that life is worth fighting for. The transformation began. Crix felt knowledge flood his mind. Systems on board upgraded themselves. His crew changed, faster, stronger, sharper. He wasn't human. But he understood them now. And then came the final message. All Confederation fleets, President Clark broadcast, you came here to investigate human space. Instead, you're now part of its defense. In 30 minutes, the Devourers will arrive. When they do, you'll understand why we spent 50 years evolving. And why we never gave up. Admiral Crix looked at his screens. He saw ships where minds worked at light speed. He saw unity between species that had never spoken. He saw, for the first time, not fear, but hope. Admiral Brooks, he said, what are your orders? She smiled. Simple. We're going to show the Devourers what happens when life refuses to go quietly. And as the darkness approached, Crix understood what the humans had meant all along. Sometimes, to protect what you love, you have to become something more. And when you do, you don't just change yourself. You change everything. Because when life fights back, it fights to win.